Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today in this video, I'll be talking about how you can deploy a Node.js code which is developed in TypeScript into Docker container or Docker Hub. So if you check my previous video, you will see I have already uploaded one video how you can deploy your Node.js application into Docker container. In this video, I'll be doing the same thing, only instead of JavaScript, I'll be using the TypeScript. So the basic difference between TypeScript and JavaScript is in JavaScript, for variable, we don't mention any particular or specific type, be it string, be it boolean, be it text, whatever it is. But for TypeScript, we always have to mention the type of a specific variable. So if you want to know more about the TypeScript, then you can check my previous videos where I have already made few decision about a few topics about TypeScript, right? So in this video, I will also develop one small Node.js application by using TypeScript, and apart from that, I will deploy that particular small application into Docker container. So few things will be different from the simple Node.js application. So let's see. Let's open my terminal. So at first, I will be initializing by doing npm init. Right? You see, like my package.json has installed. Now, apart from that, I have to install few specific npm module. Right? So the first is express. Second one is, as I have already told, like for TypeScript, we have to specify the specific type. So for installing the node modules, we also have to specify the type. So we can do type /express and node. These two npm we also need to install. Why it is giving error? Why it is just, let's see. Okay, so instead of type, we have to use the types. I think I missed the S one. Apart from that, we have to install npm I nodemon. And we also have to install TypeScript. So what are the modules I have installed so far? One is TypeScript, one is Nodemon. Apart from that, we have installed Express by using the um, type, mentioning the type, node and the express. So these are enough for developing my small TypeScript application, right? Now the moment I have installed this TypeScript, so now we can do npx tsc init, right? The moment I will put this comment, you will see automatically one tsconfig.json file will appear. Okay, in here, this is the TypeScript configuration file. We have to do few modification in this file to make it work. So at first we are seeing like there are so many lines which is comment out currently. So in these lines we remove the comment for this root directory. In the root directory, we have to mention the root directory. Root directory means the project directory inside which folder we want to put all the files related to this application, right? One is this, and apart from that, there will be one key known as out directory. So this is the out directory. In out directory, we have to mention dist. Okay. So what is this root directory and out directory? So in root directory, inside the source folder, whatever file we'll create, we will create. TypeScript will um, modify. TypeScript will like do a error checking system for those file, or TypeScript will what you can say, run that particular file. And apart from that, we have a few things like TypeScript provides us a build command. So the moment we will do npm run build, it will build our application and it will create a similar a duplicate or replicate of the files, of the source files, and it will put inside the out directory. So that out directory is dist, and we don't have to create this out directory. The moment we will put npm run build, our out directory will automatically gets created, and you will see whatever file we have created inside that source folder by using ts extension, the same file will be created inside the out directory with gx extension. So what it will do, it will, this npm run build command will replicate all the file from, inside the source folder, and just take it out inside the build, the dist folder, and change the extension with js. And in such a manner, like we can run both, like the files inside the source folder and also the file inside the build dist folder, right? So sometimes you can see like this out directory, people used to do give some separate name, but for me I'm choosing this as a dist, right? So this is the main configuration you have to do. Apart from that, nothing much. You can do one more thing, like, yes, yeah, 26 version or 27 to it, like currently we can do this one, right, for the current version, right? So these are the common things we are basically use. Apart from that, if you want, you can remove all the comment outline, but we are not removing it out as it is not giving any error. So I'm keeping it as it is. Okay. Apart from that, we don't have to do any modification as of now, right? So our tsconfig JSON file, like the configuration file for Typescript, is done now. Now what we have to do now, as you see, like here is package.json file where I have mentioned the main file is app.js file. So now, as I have already told, the root directory is source. So whatever file we'll be creating inside source folder, we have to create. Only then Typescript can identify those files and can run, right? So now inside this we have to create app.ts. So whatever file will be creating inside the source folder, Typescript only can compile those files, right? Apart from that, if we keep any file outside of the source folder, like if I create any file outside of the source folder, you will see in tsconfig.json file, it will give us some error. Let's see, like if we do app.ts outside, automatically you will see tsconfig.json become red. So that means maybe any file you have created which is not inside src, rather than it is outside of src, right? So we cannot do that. All every file, whatever file you want to create regarding this application, you have to create inside this source only, right? So now it is app.ts. Now our complete TypeScript configuration is done. Now what we have to do, import express from express, right? So in TypeScript, basically we use import. So import, instead, like in JavaScript file, we have seen like for including any module, we use the require. But in TypeScript, we have to use the import. So what is the basic difference between import and require? So require is a synchronous operation. It will load the file in single runtime. The moment you will run the project, it will run automatically all the file in the same, all the code in the same file, right? But in import is a asynchronous operation. That means it will hold, it can take few seconds of time. The moment you will run the page, maybe it will take some time to run, to compile all the files or all lines of code, right? So this is the basic difference, like import is asynchronous and require is synchronous. For TypeScript, we will be using the import. Now as it is const app express, then app dot listen, we have to mention the port. So port, let port is 3700, and we will keep the port inside this, and then what we will do, app listen to the port, done. Now our application is ready to run. Apart from that, let's make one route. So app.get, then what we will do, we will do request response base.json, status 200 and the message we can write our TypeScript application deployed into Docker container successfully. Done. So now this is done. Now we are ready to run this. Oh, okay, I'm missing one thing. So one like in package.json we have to do some modification. Like first modification we have to do, we have to put start. So where our project will start. So we have to specify that path. The thing we will do node, then inside the dist app.js. We don't have to create anything here. We don't have to create any dist folder or inside that any app.js. It will automatically gets created. I'm showing you how. Like in the dev, npm run dev, where here what we'll do, we will be running our the source folder and inside that the ts file which is already created, and the build comment, the most important comment, that is like npx tsc, right? So this will build our application and it will compile each and every file inside the source folder, and it will check whether there is any error or not. So if there is no error, the build, if the build is successful, then you will see the same set of file gets created inside the dist folder. So let's see now. At first we will be running this command npm run build. Let's see. You see, like the dist folder has created, and inside that app.js file also created. Same thing has created, only it just become more compilable format so that JavaScript can compile this file, right? Now, in the package.json file, you will see app.ts and app.js. Fine, and also we have installed Node.daemon, so we can do this Node.daemon so that we don't have to run the same file multiple time. And we can also do npm run dev, or you can do npm run start. Our application is in running mode now. Okay, now let's keep it secret. Let's now the main thing we have to do, we have to dockerize this file. We can see like our app is listening into the port 3700, and we have already created one route here. And the moment I'll be running this, you will see that this message is showing. But this is not my motto. My motto is to show this localhost address or this route result once our complete application containerized successfully. So for that we have to deploy our code into Docker Hub, right? So now for Docker, if you check my previous video, what we have to do for Docker, at first we have to create one file which is known as Dockerfile, right? Inside Dockerfile we have to write some set of command or some set of script, whatever you want you can call it. And apart from that there will be one more file, that is Docker ignore file, right? So Docker ignore file. So inside the Docker ignore file we can do node modules, and so that our node modules not get inside the Docker ignore. I have already talked about this Docker ignore in my previous video. If you want, you can check that video. So Docker ignore is a kind of a file which actually ignores the file which you don't want to push inside the Docker container. That's it, nothing more than that. And in Docker file you have to write some set of script. So I'll be writing line by line, and I will also describe what I want to mention here, right? So if you check my previous video, you will see like I have created at first the Node.js version. But for now, I'm not mentioning any Node.js version. Whatever the latest version for Node.js it will take, and I will be I will be considering that as the builder. Okay, so this is for Node.js runtime application. So the runtime version of Node.js, we are calling it as parent image. So whatever parent image will be created, it will create in our latest version of Node.js. Like if my Node.js latest version is 21 or 22, so it will be created through that latest version. So this is my parent image, right? Let's do some commenting so that you also remember. parent image creation, right? After that, we have to create one work directory. Work directory means just to create a folder. Work directory, any path you can mention. For me, I am mentioning the path as user, then src, and then app. Okay, so this is the path, the folder path, and then we will be copying our package.json file. Okay. Apart from that, the npm we are running, that is in npmi. So we have to install the node module at first, right? We are copying package.json and then we are running npmi. So npmi will install all the node packages which is lying inside package.json, right? I think till this 4 line is clear to you, right? After that, what we have to do? After that, we have to mention, we have to copy all the path of the application apart from the node modules, as that node modules is excluded, as I have mentioned that name in docker ignore file. So now it is done, right? This simple basic 5 line of code is enough to deploy our code into docker container. Only 2 line is left. One is we have to expose our port, and one more line is that running command npm run start or npm run dev. So for that, I'm mentioning here, like, we have different stages. Like if you check my previous video, there I have only mentioned for the local stage. Now if we have multiple stages like dev stage or production stage, so in that case what we have to do? So docker can also create multiple stages for deploying our code in different stages, right? So in here I'm mentioning 2 stage. One is development stage and one more is production stage. These two will be enough to understand for other stages as well, I guess. So here same set of code I will write. Only what I will do, I will not mention the node version anything, because I have already mentioned that. The thing we have to do, we have to mention it like form builder as development, right? So just mention the stage name, right? And then mention the env you have already done in my previous video. So node env, here it is development, it is already pre-populating. And apart from that, expose, okay, keep it in capital, expose the port. Our port is 3700, and then that comment like run npm run build. So it will build our ts file into js file and keep it inside the dist folder, as we have already mentioned. And apart from that, npm run dev. So this is as simple as that. There is nothing complicated. So this is like we are considering the builder in this stage. So builder in development stage and mentioning the node env as development. So this line is not that much necessary as of now, because I'm not mentioning any specific environment file, right? So for mentioning any environment file, we have to create one .env file. For that, we have to install one more npm which is known as .env. So there we can specify this node env as a dynamic way. But just for showing you so that you can modify it further, like you can mention the node env as development, and then you are exposing the port 3700 is a local port only. And then what we are doing, npm run build. So npm run build means, as I have already told, like it will replicate it will compile all the TypeScript file. I mean all the file which has a TS extension inside the source folder, and then we will replicate or duplicate the same set of file inside the dist folder with the JavaScript, that means JS extension, right? So we can run both. We can run app.js file inside dist folder, and as well as we can run app.ts file inside from the source folder. So now, so based on that, we can mention our comment. Like if you check our package.json, so npm run dev is for running the ts, right? Now for production stage, like this, For production stage, we have to do the same thing, nothing specific, only uh, don't have to expose this 3700 port, because for production we will be having separate domain, right? So that thing we have to mention in apart from that we have to do as production and copy this and paste it in here. Right now we are not running it, but you can mention like this way: npm start, right? Production stage, and you also have to mention that particular domain name below this, but I'm not making it. This is for only for learning purpose. I'm not making it a production ready code, just to show you. So this way you can mention all the stages and keep your code ready, or keep your complete application ready to run in server. Right now my docker file code is also ready. Docker ignore file, I have also already mentioned the node modules. Now the thing is we have to dockerize this particular project, right? So for that I have two comment. One is docker build -t. So this is my code for building one image. As I have already told, for docker we have to create a first create a parent image, then that parent image you have to containerize that parent image. So two comments are required here. At first comment will be for creating image, and the next comment I'll be putting for containerize our particular image. So this is the comment for image creation, right? So docker build -t and this one. Let's see. So for making this deploy this ts code, it will take maybe few seconds or few minutes of time. Till then we have to wait. Let's see. You can see it is doing right. npmi line by line, just it is deploying. I think our image is ready. Now let's see docker desktop. Okay, so our image is ready, but there is no container. Now we have to containerize this particular image. So for that, what we have to do? Docker run p 80 localhost address and then our port 3700. Like I already mentioned, the port and host concept, like 80 is the localhost port, that can be your production domain, right? And then we don't have to mention any port or anything at all. But in localhost, I mean for local, you have to mention the port and domain like this way: 80 is my localhost and 3700 is my port. And this is also dynamic, right? This one, and we have to mention our image name. This is my image name, so I have to mention this, right? And I'm missing anything? Okay, as I've already told, like if you run this comment, you will see one container has created, but the container name is random. Some random name it will create. So you will not be able to identify which. I mean, if you have multiple container, then you will not be able to identify which container you need or which container is running, right? So for that, you can also specify the container name. So for specifying container name, like in my previous video, I've already told, you can mention that as this way: name, and then the container name as ts node application. Then you will see your project is not your project is not creating with any random name. Instead of that, it will create with this ts dash node application name. So you have to just only mention that as this way. Now let's see our project is running or not. You see our code is running like this way. Now we will be go inside our docker container, and inside the container it is in running state. Now let's see our code is running or not. Yeah. Now you see, like in localhost, our code is running with status 200 and messages. Our Typescript application deployed into Docker container successfully. So this message is coming from this file, app.ts file, or you can, if you run this app.js file command, then app.js file will also. show you the same result. So our TypeScript, so it is deployed automatically. Now I'll be terminate this console, and then let's see our code is running or not. It will run because our container is running. So till my container is running, our code will run in local. The moment I will stop this container, you will see our code will also stop running in localhost, right? So this way your code actually gets deployed into localhost, right? And also instead of localhost, if you want to mention any specific domain or you have any purchase domain, through that also you can containerize your local application into production, right? So in this video, till this only, my motto was to show you how you can deploy your TypeScript application into the Docker container. Do some exploration. This is a very small project. You can make it a big application and also make up some file based on oops concept. This is in the single file I have done the route and all the functioning stuff and everything. If you want, you can segregate the route in some other file, and also after that also try to containerize your application.